Hi Oliver, how are you doing?
Hey,
Andres from Ruta Rock. I'm very happy to be speaking with you today because I saw you back at 2019. I think it was the last time you was in Chile. You were in
awesome.
Chile.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
That was such a
so
cool time, man. We loved being there. That was so great.
cool. I have a few questions about your career and the next show you're going to give in Chile. So yeah,
Cool.
you always have this creator side, like from inventing pedals with Death by Audio to repairing your own guitars after smashing them on stage. So where does that knowledge and curiosity for building and modifying your own instruments and gear come from?
I think it's from being, so sort of, I guess, being a musician who wasn't barely making any money and, trying to push the envelope of experimenting. And we would take apart our instruments, we would take apart our amplifiers, trying to push them further. And you would just get whatever you got, like pretty much for free or at some, thrift store. And that's the stuff you had. So, you just wanted to play crazy punk music or do something wild with it. And it didn't quite deliver in the way that you wanted it to. So you thought that opening it up and you could change it and make it turn into something cool. Is at those times when, you see other people playing experimental music too. I remember seeing bands where it'd be someone who just like, just only had like a microphone and they're just swinging it around a speaker and you're like, Bob, that sounds so cool. And then so you feel like there's this whole like magical world that gets invented in your head of like what music and all of these things are. And then you just try to push that stuff further as time goes on and you figure out finally how to fix your amp and finally how to build your guitar and finally rebuild your guitar and you want to get crazier and you just shit.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. And well, has it ever happened that um, you broke up an instrument or gear that it fucked up the entire gig or tour that you couldn't repair it?
I other people might have thought that, but I always was like I kind of embraced those moments. We had times where it was like all the guitar amps blew up or
Oh,
something, you know what I mean? And then, you don't have a chance to make any sound with the guitar. And I still think those shows were great too. I think when, even we've had shows where it's like either the kick drum or the snare drum will just break out or blow out. And then you kind of have to transform everything that you've been doing. But I still think there's something exciting and thrilling with that. There's something cool that happens. I always try to be like aware of what the overall sound of the band is, by listening to every single thing that's happening and then transforming what that stuff is, and transform where you're going with the sound and what band sounds like right in front of you. And if you have to, like plugging the bass into a guitar amp or, moving the drums or just sort of turning it into a good show. I've played like solo shows and go desperately wrong, and then that makes you invent something that, is even cooler than you planned on doing.
yeah,
So, uh,
yeah, something
if
new.
things that get exciting, I think.
Cool. Well, coming up next, yeah, with synthesizer, you gave fans the chance to build their own synthesizer from the vinyl itself. So, how did the idea come about, and what has the experience been like seeing people put it together? Do you see like maybe something new that you maybe never thought it could happen?
Yeah, totally. We had been sort of like building these some like oscillators and stuff that we would play at shows and building them into rack cases and things that we'd bring and spring reverb and amps and all sorts of stuff. So it just seemed like we'd been taking them further and further, developing them, that this was the right time to sort of build this and use it into this show. And so we built the synthesizer and kind of sort of made it all come together at the same time and working with the record and putting all of this stuff whether even though we weren't maybe totally ready for it, but we designed the sensor and made it so we can make this noise synth. But one of the really cool too is seeing all these people build it. Other people have like modified it and changed it and put it in really cool cases and like cut half of it off and turn it on, put it on their guitar, done all these like really
Yeah,
cool things with it where it's sort of I don't know, you're just like I'm so happy that that actually ended up being the case
cool.
is when people take that stuff further. Because even looking back on it, you like think of all these ideas like, oh, we could have done that or
Yeah,
this or the other. So the people actually doing that is like I
cool.
think is really awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I just saw a video on YouTube of I think it's like a Japanese that plug it into the guitar and sounded really awesome. So yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, cool.
Well,
Okay. Awesome.
yeah, I read somewhere that you don't use earplugs during concerts. Is there a reason behind that, or has it affected you over the years?
Um, I mean, I want to hear like every aspect of what's going on. And I think I'm just maybe I'm lucky, or something. I've like really enjoyed really loud music, my whole life. I've played really loud music since I was a teen. And so, I don't know, maybe I'm in tune with my body. Like if you get your head right up to a speaker and it's blaring in your ear, you can start to feel that it's like this is gonna be very painful soon, So
Yeah.
I don't know, you just kind of like you navigate your way around these scenarios. You're in tune with your body. And then I think we've also just been listening to really loud music. I know lots of people who've lost their hearing who have, bad problems with this stuff. And, that's thank goodness that we're still in good shape and
Yeah.
we're just aware of what's going on. We can still hear. I mix people's records, I master people's records, and I listen to crazy loud music. I guess I'm thick skull or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. You are a very very lucky man because yeah, I think it was when I think I saw Black Midi and that was like the definitive show that I say to myself, yeah, from now on I will always use earplugs. It was really
Yeah, I
painful
mean,
though.
I have been at shows before when I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so insane loud, and then like put my fingers in my ear or ask someone for earplugs. It happens sometimes, yeah.
Yeah,
Or you can
yeah,
tell if you're in front of some speaker, you're like, this isn't good, so.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, your last show in Chile at Le Rock Fest in 2019. What do you remember from that experience? And did you get to see any local bands that caught your attentions in that festival?
Yeah, we had such a good time being down there. That was such a cool show. It's like, yeah, I remember just having such a great time being down there and everything was like so awesome and everybody was really cool and the show was wild and it was really awesome. I remember that there was a bunch of great bands that we saw. I couldn't necessarily name them now, but I remember it being a really cool lineup and a really awesome time down there.
Cool. And well, yeah, now that you're coming back with another new festival that it's being up in Chile, are you familiar with any of the other bands that will share the stage with you?
Not really.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. I should find out what's been going on. It's been such like kind of a crazy time where we're sort of like working on this stuff for a new record and we're doing these different like collaboration pedal releases with Death by Audio and all of this. It's like I'm about to like really soon kind of get into exploring what we're gonna do when we're down there and what's gonna
Yeah,
happen. So, but I really haven't had the time yet, but soon I'm
yeah,
gonna check it out. And I mean, we love seeing like bands that we're playing with, and that's one of the coolest places to check out bands and become friends with people and meet other cool musicians all over the place. And
mm,
I love hearing music that I want to hear new music all the time and stuff. So
mm,
I'm super excited for the Chile show in particular because we're playing with a bunch of bands that haven't heard before. So it's
yeah,
gonna be cool.
yeah. I usually totally check out this band called Asia Menor, which is
Okay.
I had the chance to, I saw them like the last weekend, and they're totally awesome. Like super like noise rock, but they also take like very inspiration from these new bands that come from the UK, like Black Medium, Black Country Road. But
Cool.
they are really cool, and yeah, they are
Sick.
like I don't know, like 20 years old. They are super young, and
Awesome.
I see
Okay. Great.
an awesome future with them. So yeah, totally check them out.
Cool, cool. We will definitely see them. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank
Great.
you. I wrote that
Yeah,
down. Great. Thanks. Yeah.
cool. Nah, thanks. Well, yeah, well, this year will also be your first time playing in other South American countries such as Costa Rica, Peru, and Argentina. How do you feel about expanding the tour, and what do you expect from the audience who haven't seen you yet?
Yeah, we're super excited. Like going to those places has always been sort of a dream of mine to see some of these places. And we met different people from these places over the years and played with like Argentinian bands and bands from Peru and some good friends, Costa Rica and all of this. So cool to finally, I guess, get a chance to see a little bit of those different scenes and meet some of those people and where those people kind of grew up and stuff. So I'm super excited about it. We've had such a great time being in like Chile and Brazil and Colombia and everywhere in the past. So I'm excited that we get the opportunity to come back.
Cool. Yeah. And this will be your sixth performance in Chile. So, what kind of connection do you feel with the Chilean audience, and how do you think they have evolved during the years? Because, yeah, seeing a band that has came a lot of times here in Chile is like really difficult to see, you know. So, yeah, shows doesn't happen very often. So, we're very lucky to seen your shows 6 times here in Chile. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, we had such a great time every single time we were down there, and everybody showed us such a good time too, going out and checking out different areas and hanging out after the shows and everything. So, um, we're just always really excited to come down and do this kind of again. And we always try to, one of the best things about being in a band is getting to travel and seeing different places and meeting different people. It's, actually one of the most enjoyable things of being in a band, really. So super excited to kind of be able to come back and see some of people that we've met in the past and hang out again and everything. It's going to be really cool.
Cool, thank you. All right, Oliver. I don't have more questions, so I really appreciate your time. And yeah, we'll see you next month at the festival.
Perfect.
I'm
That
really
sounds so
excited
great.
about it. Yeah. All
Cool.
right.
Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks to
Have a
you.
good one.
See you
Thank you.
there. Bye.
Yeah.